engineers, we are still having our very own engineer Carren Aoko OYOLLA, and we were brainstorming about her manifesto. So we are back for the second session, and we will request everyone who has questions to unmute the mic and ask. So, engineer, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, I have a question. How will you improve on, like, the issue of fundraising at the society is really wanting, and we have seen a scenario whereby we have hosting PIPs and they have been very expensive. I myself, know that I said earlier, know that I didn't have money. 2016, I sneaked in one IEK meeting in Nairobi. I think it was Serena Hotel. And the meetings are very expensive, and they're not for everybody. They're not far-reaching in the sense that it's only within Nairobi and then Mombasa. So not everybody, say if I'm in Lodwar, I can't spend a lot of money to come again. I need to get a place to sleep. I also need to get up because I can't fly in or travel by road and then go back immediately. You know, these things are very expensive, and some of the GEs who are these things are meant for, most of them might not even be able to have stable jobs. Some are employed by Muhindi, who is giving them maybe 25,000. Then when it is taxed, it goes down to maybe even some 17,000. So how will you come up, or rather, what is your strategy on how to raise funds for the society while providing cheaper and affordable conferences, PIPs, tour events, and many others?
I think it's a high time we embrace the technology which is existing in this country. Actually, we have various options. I mentioned about developing online courses. I think it's a high time engineers don't have to leave the comfort of their offices or their areas of residence every time they want to attend trainings on PIPs or the PDUs. We can tailor-make these trainings and avail them online, just like other institutions are doing or other colleges are doing currently, so that at the comfort of your office, you can actually log in to the website and identify the trainings. Once we share the training calendar, all the trainings within the training calendar, we should make them available online. This will greatly reduce the cost, because if you look at, maybe most of the times the cost is high because of the venue. The venues where the conferences or the trainings are being offered, they're very expensive venues. And also this also will ensure that even engineers who are in other towns do not have to travel all the way to Nairobi or Mombasa or whichever location the training is being provided to attend the trainings. And also something else, to encourage more engineers to come for these trainings, not just them coming, but them deriving the value from the trainings. As I was campaigning, there's something that came up, that most of the trainings that are currently being offered, they are not tailor-made for engineers at different levels of their careers. Some of them, okay, they're called advanced, but when you attend them, you realize they're very basic. So also we need to tailor-make the training to suit engineers at various stages within the engineering career. So I think that, and also we can also look into video conferencing, you know, for the trainers to provide the training for engineers. Do they really have to come physically? You know, all of us sit in a space and they come physically, like the old days. I think we've developed, there are several technologies that have come into place, and we need to embrace these technologies to reduce the cost of training. So with all the other candidates who are talking about digitization of the operations within IEK, we'll develop a system to put all these trainings online for engineers to be able to benefit on these trainings at affordable prices.
Diana, Diana, I have a question. You have answered me, engineer, and I only hope that maybe you will come up with a policy on such, because I believe we can have cheaper conferences, cheaper PIPs held maybe in Nairobi University, Mahatma Gandhi Hall, or even at say Machakos University. They have a hall that side. If you go to Mombasa, there are halls and they can be for cheap.
Cheaply.
Yeah, cheaply. And I believe if we go that way to Mashinani, we will be able to even mentor more people. Because when we are there, let's say we are in Mombasa University in their theater hall, amphitheater rather, and we give a talk and we give maybe a PIP session, maybe the fourth and the fifth year students might be allowed to go in and also have an idea, and they will be encouraged to pursue rather engineering to greater heights. Because if we don't do that, then people graduate and then they go to finance, they leave, go to do other things elsewhere, and then engineering will stagnate. If the trend as it continues, if the trend is that is now continues, then we'll find many engineers leaving engineering to practice other things. So I know Diana will have a question, but I have, my questions are always a bit standard. I have a question regarding how will you be able to reach the semi-arid Kenya, Turkana, Elwak, all the way that northern Kenya part. As professional society, we should be able to give a sense of belonging to everybody, and also to mentor and motivate the young pupils and students in those sites. And even the engineers who are based on those sites, they feel a bit detached. The other question is, you are still young and energetic, and I believe when you graduated from the university, your first job or your first internship, you faced some challenges. And there's one big challenge that many have faced, which is sexual harassment. This is a problem that faces all engineers and all professions, cutting across all sector. But engineering is special because we have a bigger percentage of engineers as men. And there has been a scenario and situations whereby young girls and boys have been sexually molested or harassed, but there's no voice, nobody's talking. This thing is closed in a box. It's like what the Luos say. It's like a boil, an inflammation, and then it's almost bursting. Now we need to know what is your strategy on how to curb this problem. How will you bring, or rather, how will you try to fight it and make it open so that young boys and girls can be able to report these things without being, how do I put it, without being
victimized, kind of.
Yeah, without being victimized and without being fired from their jobs for something that is really affecting them psychologically.
So let me start by responding to your first question. I think IEK has already done well by introducing the IEK Mashinani. So even in the northeastern region, why not introduce another IEK branch? Let's say Garissa. Those towns nowadays are very vibrant. You know, sometimes when we talk of northeastern, we think of, the desert with no people, no life. But if you've gone to those places like Garissa, Mandera, Isiolo, those places are vibrant, and we can have, just like what you have in South Rift, an IEK branch in the northeastern. That will ensure that the engineers who are there have somewhere, like a society where they can also belong. They don't have to bring all their issues to the head office. And also that can also provide the outreach to the students in the northeastern region through mentorship programs from the branches in the northeastern. But also we don't just limit it to the Mashinani branch. I think also through the IEK mentorship, we can organize a program where we go out to those schools, even the ones in the Northeastern, to talk to the girls and boys about engineering and to encourage them to take up these courses. Because actually most of them perform very well and come to the university. So we don't need to look at them differently, only that they are far away in a disadvantaged location. But we should be able also to reach out to them. So in my position in the council, we'll be able to come up with a program to go to all the schools across the country, irrespective of where the schools are, talk to the students and encourage them to take up engineering. And also through the mashinani, the engineers who are working in those localities can be able to have their portion of IEK or a branch of IEK where they can, their issues can be addressed at that level. And also if maybe at any given point, the issues raised cannot be addressed within the branches, they can be escalated to the head office and they are dealt with properly. And then on the second issue of the sexual harassment, it's not a new challenge. It's something which has been existent. We need to appreciate the fact that for over time, engineering has been considered as a male-dominated career. And actually it is so when you go, especially for engineers who find themselves in sites, on sites. Most of those sites, you might realize you're the only engineer, and sometimes not very good conditions. We've received cases of sexual harassment. And I think as a society, as an institution, we need to come up with a strong sexual harassment policy to guide the institution on how to address these cases. And also when these cases come to us, we need to be seen to deal with them. Like the victims should feel like their complaints have been addressed adequately by taking action against the people, the offenders. I mean, we have the engineers code of ethics, which I think some of these things we can use to punish the offenders, people who make the other engineers, feel sexually harassed. But I think when we address this thing adequately and the victims can see that we are out there and speaking loudly about it and we condemn it, I think you will be able to reduce such cases. But also those who are found culpable, we should be able to take action, actually, like maybe canceling their licenses for a period of time, and also even jailing some if you have to. So I think this is something we need to take very seriously, and we need to come out strongly and condemn the act.
Thank you, engineer. Now, apart from that, I would also like to hear, right now, if you look at IEK membership, it's mainly based on 4 areas. That is, as per what I've seen on the registration, even the last gazetted names of engineers, it's in civil, agricultural, mechanical, and electrical. And if you look at mechanical, they take care of energy, they also take care of chemical processing and all that, and chemical engineering. And when you go to electrical, I, for example, I am a telecommunication person, or rather I can say electronics and communication. And if I go there, then I will be interviewed mostly where will I place myself? You see, the number is limited to those areas, yet we know engineering has evolved. We even have biomedical engineering. We have new areas that are opening up. We even have artificial intelligence, deep learning, and others. In as much as they're a bit far from engineering as it is, but they're because they borrow a lot, they work close hand in hand with, say, electrical communication engineers a lot, and even control, automation, and all that. Now, what is your take on the new profession, the new profiles of engineering that are coming out, which are still not recognized by IEK and EBK? And in that concept also, what is your take on the Technologist Act that is now based in Ministry of Education, yet an engineer can never work in alone. He or she always need a technician, technologist, and even a craft person, an artisan on the ground. So what is your take on that?
I think on the new engineering fields that are emerging, I think because at the end of the day, the body mandated to approve these courses is the EBK. So the same engineers who sit in the EBK, they have membership at IEK, and actually some of the council members from the IEK sit in EBK. So it's more of us not embracing the technology at the end of the day. We are still kind of stuck in the past, which is something all of us as engineers need to come out strongly and maybe encourage our older engineers to embrace the new technologies. And this is not a question we should be talking about after graduation. This is something which needs to be addressed at the point of approval of university courses, the engineering courses at the university. And the IEK should maybe come up with a committee to sit down, look into these new courses, engineering courses, and maybe advise EBK appropriately to approve, because approval is mainly based on looking at these courses, how they fit into the 4 engineering categories. But most of the time, to realize that the current 4 engineering categories, they are very wide. They're very wide. You rarely find somebody who can practice all of them. So you find some of the new fields have actually separated from the main, like the telecommunication you're talking about is from electrical engineering. So it's still electrical engineering. I don't know why it should not be just be approved at the course level so that the university can offer it, and then the EBK, because after approval, the EBK cannot refuse again to register the engineers who graduate from these courses. So it's more of us sitting down and looking into these courses in details, and then we identify the courses that really fit to be called engineering courses, and then approve them at the university level, at the course level at the university. Once they are approved, then it should not be a problem for EBK to register these engineers when they graduate from these courses. So that is my take. It is more of just IEK and EBK sitting down with the university lecturers, because most of them might not be operating within the 2 bodies, EBK and the IEK, so that we sit down, look at these courses in details. What is the structure? What are they offering? Do they fit to be called engineering? And then approve them at that level. After approving them, then the EBK should be able to register the engineers once they graduate from these courses. Because most of the times, I think the problem is at the approving the course to be offered at the university. There has been that push and pull where the EBK refuses to identify, to recognize the course as engineering. Then the university goes ahead and offers the course. And then now when you graduate from these courses, of course, it becomes a problem for EBK to register you because they did not approve the course at the beginning. So we need to make sure also that the courses being offered at the university have been approved by the body mandated to approve these courses. That would be the first thing. But also we need to have a wide pool of experts to advise EBK on, what these courses entail. Because, some of these people who start EBK, maybe they only know about mechanical, electrical, civil. So also getting their mind out of that to convince them that some of these courses actually are engineering in nature, it might require the experts, those people who've done those courses and maybe what these courses entail, so that they're advised accordingly to be able to embrace these courses and incorporate them within the engineering courses.
All right.
What was the second question?
The engineering technologies. Actually, what you've said is really nice, is really fantastic, because having worked with some of the senior engineers, I noticed most of them were still even talking of ERB, ERB, ERB. They don't know the thing has changed. They were so much into ERB, ERB. The other question
Yeah,
was about the Kenya
the
Engineering
technologist.
Technologists Board, because I'm thinking we need to have them all together. And I've always given an idea of whether we could go the Australian, the British way, whereby we have the societies divided, we have electrical, and then we have one regulator up, down, up there. So the societies mentor somebody and they
Mhm.
train you to be a professional, and then they forward your name for a professional interview at the engineering council or the regulator up. So, what is your take? What do you think about it? And do you think is it a high time we need to have a petition to reorganize the two acts so that we merge the two?
Actually, it's a debate I've had for a long time, because in the field where I work, of course, we work with these people, the technologists, we call them, in the road sector, we call them the road overseers, the inspectors, the guys who did, some of them you find have done diploma in civil engineering, but they are not recognized by EBK. So my take, actually before I give you my take, some of these people, after practicing for so long within their area of specialization, for example, the road overseers, some of them have gone ahead to get degrees from the university and actually become engineers. But the fact that we work with these people within our areas of specialization, let me still give example of roads. An engineer cannot be on the road throughout. So these are the guys, these are actually our eyes on the road. Most cases. They're the guys who sometimes even we give instructions to supervise the contractor as per the instruction of the engineer. So I still believe that they should still be incorporated within the registering body so that they can transit at some point, because some of them are young and of course they want to move ahead in the career. So if we give them a chance to also belong to the engineer society, mostly EBK, because EBK is the registering body, so that we can also kind of control the way they operate, because they're still within our field. Their actions actually affect the performance of, let's say, buildings, if it's a building, or roadworks, if it's a roadwork. So we should still be able to monitor the operations. They should be able to operate within a framework. They should be regulated within the engineering regulating body. So if you ask me, I think they should be recognized by the EBK and they should be registered under EBK at their level. Because they also, we need to structure maybe not just because the courses they already have, the courses that they do, maybe Kibit and all those to make them technologists. But now within the professional development, as we structure our professional development courses, we need to also think of these technologists and the road overseers and the rest, so that our performance, because they also contribute to our performance. When they fail, us as engineers, we also fail. So we cannot purport to operate without them. So I still believe that they should be considered by IBK. They should be registered with EBK as technologists or road overseers, or whichever way they'll be able to categorize them to fit either within the building industry or roads industry, energy, and the various engineering fields we have across the country.
Thank you so much for that answer. Diana, do you have anything?
Yes, I have a comment
Yes.
because my interaction with Engineer Carren, she might not know me, but I know her. You know what Engineer Carren does when she's supporting young engineers for conferences or dinners? She just tells Engineer Linda, get me as this number of girls and I'll pay for them, or this number of young engineers and I'll pay for them. So I've been a beneficiary of that. So thank you so much. So I know your work. I know whatever you're speaking about is really true. And I can only wish you all the best. You have the young engineers at heart and you have a lot of, you are development conscious. Yes, that's all I have. No question, just a comment.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
All right. Engineer Doreen, I see you're back. You want, you have a question? Engineer Were?
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have Engineer Doreen, Engineer Carren on the hot seat. You can ask a question or two.
Yes, okay. I don't have, okay, a question maybe
Yes.
to engineer is how will you promote transparency in IEK because you're going for a honorary treasurer?
Especially the money part.
Yeah, the money part.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'd like to know that. Sorry, I joined a bit late.
Mm.
Yes, that's alone. Then I wish you all the best.
Wow, thank you. So, okay, thank you very much, Engineer Were. I'm going for the position of the treasurer and of course, the money. uh, I've already spoken about the accountability part, but I will ensure that first of all, we declare our income for every financial year. This is information which will be available to all the members and stakeholders. We can put it in the website. Right now that the IEK website is up and working, I hope it will continue working. So that at the beginning of the year, the members should be able to know what the institution has. And then we will be able to get the budgets, both from the head office and the IEK branches across the country. Then this budget, of course, it's supposed to constitute the various activities that the council and the branches have planned to conduct throughout the year. So this also should be this also should be information which is available to members. So all this information will be put on the website for the members to see. The budgeting process, what we planned to put the money on. The work plans, once they are approved by the council, we'll be able to share them with the members so that at least the members can know what we have planned to do throughout the year. And also I'm proposing to have within the committees, the internal audit committee, to be able to ensure that only the work plan which has been approved by the council at the beginning of the year is implemented. And any other additional activity which was not planned at the beginning of the year is taken back for approval at the council. And also that we should be able to monitor, the payments, the procurement process. So we'll put in place the audit committee to be able to monitor our expenditure, our procurement, to ensure that we stick to the work plan once it's approved. And this, I think, will enable us to be accountable. And also the financial controls. We come up with procedures on how payments are supposed to be done. What is the approval process supposed to go through? Who is the final approver? Who is supposed to, once all this is put in place, I think it stops being about the treasurer or the chair, because anybody who comes can actually follow the trail of this is the procedure which has been put in place for payment. Was it followed for this payment to be done? So that it's easier to audit, easier to follow, and it will be easier to monitor. So that is the plan.
So in short, engineer, you are saying you will try to have a structure such that there is well-structured procedures for how the institution's money is flowing and will show income and expenditures at any level, and it will no longer depend on the goodwill of the person holding the office, so that even when you leave the office, somebody else can continue from where you left and continue strengthening the institution structure.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Thank you for summarizing.
Wonderful. Engineer Doreen, do you have a question? Maybe she's talking, her mic is off. Engineer Doreen, do you have a question?
It's a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
You mute your mic again. It's on. Okay, now talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. It's just a comment. Just like what Diana said, one of the reasons why I've interacted with Engineer Carren, she's my colleague, let me just say it. One of the reasons she sponsors young engineers is she always keep on asking, why do we have to charge these young GEs, yet they do not have money? And that's why she has taken that initiative to be sponsoring young engineers wherever she can. And she has done it. So for me, I would think this is a person to be our treasurer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, engineer, for that. A person who is able to give what they have is a person who can account for what they don't even own.
Yes.
Yeah, to people that she doesn't even know. Like,
yes.
Just get me a group.
And I am one of the people who started some initiative thing, and she has contributed. And so far, I will give the audit about it of how many students have already, graduates rather, who have already applied for GE at EBK and have paid for their application. Otherwise, engineer, maybe right now you can give us a pitch on why we should vote for you, because already we know much about you. We've seen your manifesto, and this video is going to be uploaded, so many members will be able to listen to it and make their judgment. But at the same time, the first video had some problems because of your internet site, but the second video is wonderful. So maybe you give us a pitch.
Okay. So, fellow engineers, so I think you already have heard much about me. We are coming to the end of the campaign, and I would like to thank you for the support so far, for voting for me, for encouraging me to fight for this position, and also for ensuring me that you support me. As you already know, I'm going for the position of the treasurer, and I'm humbly requesting that tomorrow, please vote for me. And also, I would like to encourage all engineers that the Institution of Engineers of Kenya is ours. So in whichever capacity that you can offer your services in terms of leadership in various committees, we are looking forward to working together. But tomorrow, please come out, vote for the change that you want to see at the IEK, and let's make IEK great again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Diana, you have anything?
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Carren, for your time tonight. I wish you the very best tomorrow, starting from 6 to 6. The members see the way, see the solution, and give you the position of the honorary treasurer. And thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight as we hosted Engineer Carren. Very good questions asked that were answered diligently. Yeah, thank you to my co-host, Engineer Ndolo, who is always consistent in hosting these webinars. So over to you, Engineer Ndolo.
Thank you so much, Diana, for always being with me. And I think this is our last webinar of this campaign. So after the elections, I know we'll have more, and we'll have Engineer Carren coming back, maybe to mentor 1 or 2 girls, because I'm planning maybe we can have a 20 video sessions for mentoring, and we can always be sharing these things to maybe schools and other places. And Engineer, I thank you for accepting my challenge to sit on that seat and answer some of the questions that many people are hard. They are very afraid to answer. I know somebody was even afraid to answer the sexual harassment question. So I really appreciate what you do, and I hope that members will see that there is need for change. I personally like your campaign. I personally like how you've been working in the background and even mentoring in the background. And knowing you, somehow we don't know each other, but I've heard much about you even before these elections. And I know that you are somebody who is accountable, and members of IEK should and must vote for you for that accountability, transparency of their money, of the institution that they own. It's not an individual institution, it's an institution for everybody. I pray that the election come and you win, so that we have a mother figure at the finance place, because mothers know how to hide even the small little salt that is there. Otherwise, I wish you all the best. Diana, my co-host, I pray we continue doing this once in a while or frequently as possible, so that we educate each other. Karen, thank you so much for once again. I would like to request one thing. When am I hosting you to give a PPI on webinar? These things are very expensive, and you can do one.
Can we?
You can purpose, and then you let me know.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, thank you.
Yes, I'll let you know.
Thank you, engineer.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, have a good night. Have a good rest. Wake up, make a choice, and vote. Yes. Voting, not voting will always lead to having bad leadership. So wake up and vote for the correct leadership that you want at IEK, so that you're answerable in the next 2 years for whom you vote for. Engineer Were, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ndolo, and may God bless you together with Diana for hosting the webinars.
Thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.